Anticipation, the hidden director of the Momentary Pleasure Theatre. Let's look at it carefully. Most people believe their lives are made of events: the meeting, the message, the success, the relationship, the reward. They believe the event is what gives pleasure, fear, excitement, pressure. But the event is almost irrelevant. By the time the event arrives, the mind has already spent days, weeks, or months rehearsing it. And that rehearsal has a name: anticipation. Imagine a theater. On the stage, you see excitement, anxiety, hope, urgency, fantasy, fear, desire. You believe the actors on the stage are the story, but they are not. Behind the curtain, unseen, someone is directing the entire play. That director is anticipation. Anticipation tells the mind something important is coming. The body responds immediately. Heart rate changes, breathing tightens, attention narrows. Not because something is happening, but because something has been imagined. Now the theater begins. A simple image appears in the mind. Perhaps a message you are waiting for, a meeting tomorrow, a person you might see, a result you want. That image is small, but anticipation whispers, "This matters." And suddenly the body leans forward into a future that does not exist yet. Then the actors arrive on stage. The mind begins writing scenes. What if this goes well? What if this changes everything? What if I fail? What will they think of me? Notice what is happening. The event has not occurred, but the nervous system has already entered the theater. And here is the strange thing: the mind enjoys the theater more than reality, because anticipation produces dopamine, not from reward, but from the possibility of reward. So the organism learns something dangerous. It learns that imagining the future feels like movement in life. So it keeps returning to the theater again and again. This is why people live in a state of subtle urgency, not because life is urgent, but because anticipation keeps whispering something is about to happen. So the body never rests. The mind keeps scanning. The theater keeps running. And yet, when the event finally arrives, it is usually quiet, small, ordinary. The excitement collapses almost immediately because the real pleasure was never the event, it was the anticipation of the event. So the theater closes, but only briefly. Soon anticipation opens the curtain again with a new show, a new message, a new goal, a new person, a new possibility, and the audience returns every day. Most people never realize they are not living life. They are simply attending performances inside the Momentary Pleasure Theatre. And anticipation is the hidden director who never leaves the room. The day you see this clearly, something strange happens. The director loses authority, the theatre quiets, and for the first time, life is no longer a performance. It is simply this moment without rehearsal. First, understand something brutal. Anticipation feels like something important is happening, but in reality, nothing is happening. There is no event, there is no outcome, there is no future yet. There is only a thought image. Yet the body behaves as if a tiger has entered the room. This is the illusion. The first spark, a mental image. Anticipation always begins with something extremely small, a flash of imagery. It could be a message you are waiting for, a meeting tomorrow, a person you may see, a result you expect, an opportunity that might come. Notice something carefully. The mind produces only tiny image. That image lasts less than a second. But the brain does not label it as imagination. It labels it as incoming reality. The body immediately reacts. The brain's prediction systems activate. This is where the chemistry begins. The dopamine system fires. But dopamine is not pleasure. Dopamine is anticipation of possibility. It tells the organism something important might happen soon. Prepare. Now the nervous system shifts. Sympathetic nervous system activates. The body moves slightly into alert mode, not panic, but readiness. Subtle changes appear. Breathing becomes slightly shallow. Heart rate rises a little. Muscles gain mild tension. Eyes focus forward. Attention narrows. Nothing is happening in the world, but the organism has leaned toward the future. This is anticipation. The nervous system becomes forward tilted. When anticipation sustains, the body stops resting. You may notice restlessness, urge to check your phone, impatience, inability to sit still, mental scanning. The nervous system has shifted from real state to prediction state. But prediction state evolved for real threats and opportunities, not imagination. So the body is now working for something imaginary. Now the mind enters. The body tension demands explanation. The mind begins narrating. This is where the story machine begins spinning. One image becomes, what if this works out? What if this changes everything? What if this fails? What will they think of me? What will happen after? Notice what the mind has done. It has taken a 0.3 second mental image and converted it into a future timeline. Now there is a beginning, a middle, an ending, all fictional, but the body believes it. The real trick of anticipation. Anticipation makes the imaginary feel meaningful. The brain releases dopamine not when you get something, but when it believes you might get something. So the organism learns something dangerous. It learns thinking about the future feels like progress, but it is not progress, it is stimulation. Why anticipation is an illusion? Because anticipation is built on something that does not exist. The future has not happened, the outcome has not occurred, the event may never happen. Yet the body has already tightened, prepared, worried, hoped, simulated emotions. This is like running a fire drill for a fire that may never exist, over and over again. The mind's final deception. After the anticipation ends, something strange happens. The event arrives. Usually it is small, ordinary, quiet, and the intense excitement disappears quickly. Why? Because the pleasure was never the event. The pleasure was the anticipation itself. So the mind immediately searches for another future, another possibility, another show in the theater, seeing the illusion clearly. When you see anticipation deeply, something becomes obvious. The mind says, life is about to happen. But life is never about to happen. Life is only happening now. Anticipation is simply the mind abandoning the present moment for a simulation of the future. And the body pays the price in tension and chemistry, the quiet realization. The future has never hurt you. The future has never excited you. The future has never pressured you. Only anticipation has. And anticipation is nothing more than a thought pretending to be reality. Once this is seen clearly, the theater loses its power. Let's look at deeply. Let's look at anticipation not as a harmless waiting, but as a manufactured psychological event. Anticipation is not future. It pretends to be future, but in reality, it is the present moment being poisoned by imagination. There is no future inside the body, there is only chemistry happening now. So, what you call anticipation is actually present moment nervous system activation triggered by a mental image of something that does not exist. That gap between what is and what is imagined is where suffering is born. What actually happens in the body? When anticipation begins, the brain does not say, this is imagination. It says, this is happening, and it begins to prepare. Neurochemical chain. Dopamine rises, not for pleasure, but for prediction. The brain is saying, something important is coming. Sympathetic nervous system activates. Heart rate increases slightly, breathing becomes shallow, muscle tone tightens, cortisol subtly rises. The system enters mild alert mode. Attention narrows. The mind loses peripheral awareness. So you are no longer just sitting, you are biologically leaning forward into a future that is not real. The stupidity of anticipation, seen clearly. Anticipation is strange because it gives you the suffering of the outcome without giving you the outcome. If the outcome is pleasure, you do not yet have it. If the outcome is fear, you already feel it. So anticipation is a pre-experience of something that may never arrive. It is like paying rent for a house you have not entered and then living in the anxiety of whether the house even exists. The mind's trick. It converts uncertainty into story. The raw moment is simple. Something might happen, but the mind cannot tolerate simplicity. So it builds. Step 1. Image. A mental movie appears. Step 2. Identity insertion. Now it becomes, this will affect me. Step 3. Time expansion. Now it becomes, this is leading to something important later. Step 4. Emotional stimulation. The body starts rehearsing joy or fear. At this point, you are no longer in reality. You are inside a simulation running in the nervous system. Why anticipation feels addictive? Because dopamine is not reward, it is expectation of reward. So the system learns. Not getting the thing, but thinking about getting it feels like movement. This is the trap. The mind prefers imagined reward over silent reality because imagined reward gives continuous stimulation, reality does not. The nervous system distortion. When anticipation sustains, baseline tension increases, breath stays slightly restricted, attention becomes forward locked, the body loses rest signals. You may notice slight agitation, checking behavior, impatience, inability to sit still. Nothing external is happening, but internally, the organism is acting as if life is about to begin. This is the illusion. Life is always about to start, so it never actually does. The deeper deception. The real lie is not anticipation itself. The real lie is something in the future will complete this moment. So the present is rejected in favor of a mental projection. But notice carefully, the only place you will ever live is now. So anticipation is abandoning life for a hallucination of life, seeing it clearly, the collapse of it. When this is seen deeply, not intellectually, but directly, the image loses authority, the body stops leaning forward, dopamine prediction collapses, the nervous system relaxes back into baseline, and something very simple remains, just this moment, unprepared, uninterested, unprojected. Final pointing. Anticipation is not bad, it is simply the mind trying to live ahead of existence. But existence does not move, only imagination does. And when imagination is mistaken for reality, the body pays the price in chemistry. The strange discovery is this: nothing in your life has ever truly pressured you. Not the meeting, not the message, not the opportunity, not the result. Those things arrive, they happen, and they pass. What exhausts the human being is anticipation. Anticipation is the mind projecting a future image and the body reacting as if that image is real. A small thought appears, and immediately the nervous system begins preparing for something that does not yet exist. Heart rate shifts, breathing tightens, attention narrows. Dopamine begins signaling that something important is about to happen. But nothing is happening. The organism is mobilizing itself for a mental photograph of the future. From that single image, the mind constructs a narrative. It builds scenarios, expectations, fears, fantasies, and hopes. The body begins rehearsing emotional reactions to events that may never arrive. And the person mistakes this internal theater for life itself. This is the momentary pleasure theater. In this theater, anticipation is the hidden director. It whispers that something important is coming. It convinces the mind that life is about to begin. And so the organism leans forward into tomorrow again and again. But tomorrow never arrives in the way the mind imagines. When the event finally happens, it is usually small, ordinary, and brief. The intense feeling dissolves almost immediately, and the mind quietly begins searching for the next future to anticipate. Another show, another story, another illusion of movement. Seeing clearly, anticipation is simply imagination activating the nervous system. It is a rehearsal for a play that may never be performed. The future itself has never pressured you, only anticipation has.